I know that you're all, confident about the state of your business. I was just wondering why, give me the argument for why health and fitness
Why are we
magazines
confident?
right now.
Why are we confident?
Why are you more confident than your peers in maybe some other fields? Why are your magazines better situated to ride this out than other categories?
I'll start. Is this okay? Does that sound all right? I think that our category actually is in a really good position, regardless of what's going on in the economy, because we offer a very specific service that people want, no matter what is happening out there with money. I mean, you may be putting off your bathroom renovation, and that might affect Better Homes and Gardens or something like that, but you can still want to eat healthier, you still want to go for a run, you can still do things to take control of your own health and your own life. So I think that actually it's kind of a good time in a funny way for us.
Yeah, I would say not only can you still, but in rough times, I think people tend to focus on things, A, that they can control when there's so much that's spinning out of all our control with the economy and jobs and all that stuff, and B, something that makes them feel better and helps them sort of deal with tough times. And being in shape and being healthy sort of qualify for both of those things. So I agree. I think it's actually not recession-proof necessarily to be in vertical titles, but at least resistant.
Yeah.
And we cut through the clutter, too. There's so much information out there. They want a point of view. They want someone who says, you've read all of these things about all of these different actions you can take and pills you can take and, ab exercises. I want somebody to tell me specifically, if I do this now, that I'm going to get this result. And I think all of our magazines do a really great job at doing that.
And also I think that, it's very different from when I started in writing about health and fitness, and because then it was like, here's health and fitness and here's the rest of your life. And now, really, in a very short time, it has become so integrated for people, of all ages. Everybody's interested in what they should be eating. I can't tell you how many times a day just some, random friend will, ask me, how many calories are in that, or what should I be eating, and what does glycemic index really mean? And everybody is hot for it. They're interested in it, and I think that it's so much a part of your life. It's like, you can't give it up. You need to still have that information.
Yeah. Actually, I wasn't going to make this my second question, but I'm sort of curious about that. When you say it's such a part of everybody's life and mainstream culture right now, does it feel like there are, to paraphrase John Edwards, sort of two Americas when it comes to health and fitness?
Huh.
I think some people, I think that we, at Shape at least, and I think all of these magazines appeal to two categories of people, actually probably three, but the two broad categories are the aspirational and the committed. And I think that, people who will, I know there are people who sit there and read our magazine and eat a whole bag of potato chips at the same time. But, it's like, it's a contemplation of change. Sometimes you need to be in that pre-contemplation stage.
This is where the seed is planted and it's germinating.
But I think partly what you're asking, isn't it, also that, you hear so much about the obesity crisis that's in this country, and, here we are in New York City, and it's not really evidence here, but if you travel around a lot, you notice that it's more prevalent in middle America and away from the big cities on the coast, as they say.
Yeah. I think there is a significant percentage of the population that's a little cut out from the health movement, maybe because of where they live. There isn't access to the fresh food and the health food, that we take for granted. And they may simply feel that it's just not supported by their community. There's no safe place to walk. So yeah, I do think there are two worlds.
And I also think some people just really work hard, and the last thing they want to do at the end of the day is go out for a run. I used to work for my city filling potholes, and I'd go running afterwards, and all the guys used to make fun of me going, Stump, what are you doing, going out running? Aren't you tired from your daily work? So I think, there is definitely a classification here too. And there are people, it's a luxury to have the time to go, for an hour-long run. It really is. And I tell you, it's going to be more of a luxury now that we're going into a little bit of an economic recession, because people have to work longer and they have to work harder. The good news is that there's no better antidote to the stress that people feel than exercising. So that's why we continue to be super relevant, and people will continue to turn to us.
It's not just exercise, though. I really think that all of our magazines, even Runner's World, which is focused basically on running, it's a lifestyle. It's everything. It's an incorporation of health and fitness into your lifestyle, which I think is different than just, hey, what do you do at the gym? I mean, that's of course part of it, but it's so much more than that. I mean, we used to be, both when I was at Fitness and at Shape, 5 years ago when I was at Fitness, it was like, oh, it's the gym book, oh, it's the gym book. But I think it's really changed considerably over time, where, that those books still exist, but it's much more holistic.
Yeah. I wanted to, going back to the entering the recession, there was an article, I think probably a few of you read it a couple months ago in the New York Observer, about the new editor, media's glossy new reality, about how editors are increasingly, required not only to think about writing and editing, but also about the bottom line and about producing brand extensions and how you're going to increase revenue into the company. Does that match with the experience that you've had, over the course of your time in magazines?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you look at Self, which is my magazine, for instance, it was founded in 1979, and there were two ways to get a hold of the reader: on that page or on the phone. And I mean, that was it. And now everybody's attention is so fragmented; it's essential in how we do our business.
It's also an advantage, isn't it? Because we're able to deliver our content to people where they use it. We were talking earlier about Men's Health has workout posters, really popular. But what's even better, what's a fuller expression of our brand, is a downloadable workout that you can actually take to the gym, so you can see how to do that. Actually, we were joking about the Bulgarian split squat. You want to do a Bulgarian split squat, it's really helpful to have that video example of how to do it right, so you don't really hurt yourself. And we have a book out right now called Eat This, Not That. It's great as a book, but it's even better when you're at the drive-thru and you're trying to decide what to eat that's healthy. If you can pull out your handheld and pop in McDonald's, it can give you the healthy choice that can really make a difference for you in terms of your health and your weight. So I think for me, as somebody who came up as a writer and an editor, and we've kind of spin into the business side a little bit, it's really great for me to have all these additional formats that you can use to express the content in new and different and better targeted ways for users.
That's actually been the biggest adjustment that I've had to make in my career, as I've been in magazines longer, and sort of now that I'm an editor-in-chief, is the number of hours in a day that I spend, reading a manuscript, with a red pen in my hand and maybe talking to a writer it's not very many. And the number of hours that I spend thinking about the bottom line and working on strat plans and budgets and brand extensions and just sort of big picture things, there are a lot more of those hours than the sort of editing hours. The thing that I got into magazines for in the first place, it's still I'm most passionate about, and it's still part of my job, but it's a smaller part of a larger whole, which is like really relevant, I think, for these guys, because I think the days of just being an editor and having boozy lunches and kicking around story ideas, like I don't know if you guys watch Mad Men, that show, like that's not how advertising really either ever was or certainly is now, and that's not what it's like to be an editor these days. There are moments like that, but they are accompanied by a lot of other different kinds of things that I think editors really weren't even thinking about probably 15 years ago.
Is it a loss, or is it a bonus that you acquired this whole new skill set you weren't expecting to have, or is it just kind of apples and oranges?
I think you can only answer that individually. I don't think it's a loss, and I like a lot of the other things that I do, but like I said, my passion and the reason I'm even in magazines in the first place is for the journalism, and it's for the storytelling, and that great combination of terrific writing and photography and a great layout and working with creative people to make this magazine every month. And that feeling of you get the first bound back from the printer and sort of hold it in your hand. I mean, there's no
it's very satisfying.
It's very satisfying, and I don't get that kind of satisfaction out of a good budget meeting. So it's both, I think.
I don't know, maybe it's just different. Obviously you're an editor-in-chief and I'm an executive editor. I still spend a lot of time with the copy. I mean, I still spend a lot of time what they call top editing, which is, saying, you need to take this in another direction, not the kind of line editing where it's changed this word, although I do some of that too. But I spend a lot of time with copy, and I still think that, and I think what's happening is some of, in the big glitz of the web and brand extensions and, you know, a lot of the journalism skills are getting a little bit eroded, you know, and I think they're both important. They both have a place.
So if words are your passion, don't get that last promotion. Remember that.